Indonesian taxpayers compliance, international onshore fee paying. He came to Curtin University where I was working then. And he finished his PhD in January 2019 with very good grades. And I know he's happy. I've had in contact with him after he finished his PhD and he's working back in Indonesia again. I had a PhD student, Goga Paralugan. His PhD was tax morale of the individual taxpayers in Indonesia. He was an international again onshore, and he completed in February 2017. He did very well. I think he got 2 A's in his PhD. The next one was John Tenzi Peter Rigg. His PhD was determinants of effective tax investigation in Malaysia from the tax authorities' perspective. He commenced in 2014 and he finished it in 2016, so pretty fast, and he got A's as well, so it was really, really good. And my latest PhD candidate, who just finished his PhD, is Dr. Mas Punki Wijaya, who is presenting a bit later and going to tell you about his experience. His title was Reforming the Structures of Indonesian Government, Political and Legal Challenges in Reforming the Structures of Indonesian Bureaucracy. And he finished his PhD with very, very good grades, A and B grades. So I'm very proud of him, what he has achieved. He had some hurdles and he'll tell you about that, I'm sure, but I'm very proud that he finished it such good grades and very little amendments required at all. And he just finished in 2020. So with that, I will leave that and then tell you a little bit more at the final conclusion. So in my conclusion, I can say a testimony of a student who on PhD. The student said, I chose to do my doctorate here at ECU because I found the PhD in business program at the School of Business and Law to be focused on conducting cutting edge and innovative research in areas that are relevant to the global community. And I have other students, PhD students who is doing interesting areas like shipbreaking and very interesting areas of research, which are very relevant to global community. So the ECU facilities and services are more than enough, and the student says, for students to achieve their dreams, the PhD dreams. So with that, I will leave it. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you found it interesting. And later on, I will wait for if anybody has questions.
Thank you very much. Very interesting and also very informative. Thank you, Prabhula.
Welcome.
And for the next session will be our second speaker, Pak Mas Pungki, that will sharing experience of PhD journey in Australian University. Saya persilahkan Pak Mas ini selalu Mas, Pak Mas Pungki.
Ya, manggilnya Mas-Mas, Pak. Thank you very much, Ibu Rektor, Pak Abdul Halim, Mr. Dean of the Faculty of Law of University of Pembangunan Nasional. And thank you, Prabhula. Thank you, moderator, for the opportunity to share my experience on my PhD journey. When I was doing my PhD at Curtin University, Western Australia, from 2016 to 2020. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mas Pungki Hendra Wijaya, as been said by moderator. I am currently working for the Ministry of Administrative and Bureaucratic Reform of the Republic of Indonesia as a senior legal and policy analyst. Just recently, in this year 2020, I completed my PhD in business law in Curtin University under a scholarship from the Ministry of Finance, or LPDP. My supervisor was Dr. Prabhula. She was a great supervisor. For that, I would like to say thank you. And the other supervisor is Professor Gabriel Moyens. He is now a professor at the University of Queensland. My presentation will be very short, as I prefer to have more time for discussions. Thereby, I encourage you to ask questions this presentation should be around only 10 minutes or so. My educational background, I obtained my Bachelor of Law from Brawijaya University in 2002, and then Master of Legal Studies from the University of Canberra, Australia in 2010. And I got my PhD, as I said before, in business law in Curtin in 2020 with the thesis title, probably as I told you, my thesis title, Reforming Indonesian Government Bureaucracy, Political and Statutory Challenges of Reorganization. These are my experiences. I was a lawyer for the NKN Legal Law Firm, and then I'm working for the Bapeten. I was also a legal consultant for Partnership International, and now I'm working for the Kemenpan RB as a senior legal and policy analyst. Why completing PhD in business law in Australia? Why I wanted to complete my PhD in Australia? What are the benefits that I could get by doing PhD in Australia? Well, there are some reasons that I could give to answer these questions. At first, I've seen that Australian education system is is known as one of the best in the world. Last time I checked in the Australia is ranked third in the UN Education Index. University in Australia are established with a well-organized system. And second, by doing PhD in Australia, you will get the best research experience because you will have the best supporting system to support your research or your PhD. You will have like a consumable allowance that you can use to fund your study. You will get allowance to attend conference or probably incentive and allowance to publish at well reputable journals, etc. And the third, Australian universities are known for their reputation. You can check their rankings. Many Australian universities are amongst top 100 in the world. And fourth, you will have a proper PhD completion. The average length of a PhD is a research-based degree that will take 3.5, could be, or some cases took only 3 years and up to 4 years to analyze and submit your thesis. When you choose a PhD degree, it will be the only course on your everyday schedule. As you will have only one research subject to wholly focus on, you can utilize your free time to engage in your other favorite activities. My favorite other activities when I was in Australia, I was doing cycling, and I have more time to do that. And fifth, you can enjoy the Australian stunning natural attractions. Australia's stunning natural attractions are spread across the country. Uh, Australia is the Aussie land is home of 19 World Heritage Sites and architectural landmarks. Australia has been regarded as the heaven on earth because its exquisite scenery. Whether you want to live in the midst of lively city or just walk around in vibrant colors, well, the choice is yours. International students like us usually have a long list of beautiful places to visit in Australia. Those places can be the perfect place to de-stress from your everyday research activity. I took my time for road trip to many places in WA, also in other states. I went to Southwest, like Esperance, Albany, and I also going north to Calgary. Those are beautiful places in WA. Six, when it comes to PhD study, universities take the utmost care of the research quality from providing access to numerous resources, sophisticated library, to assistant in hosting or any academic matters, even any personal matters, any psychological condition that you may have. University will do the best they can to support your university life. Like I was also have a problem to cope with my personal life and with academic study, and I seek assistance from the university for to cope with that. The thesis submission process in Australia is quite straightforward. After thorough analysis and intense research, you will have to submit a copy of your thesis to an examiner from your university. and to another international examiners. There won't be multiple checks, which make it a simple process. Unlike other PhD in different countries, correction are to be made if changes suggested and then submit the final thesis. I was lucky that my correction was only minor, so it's only 2 paragraph or 3 paragraph, and then I submit my final thesis. Thanks to Profula because of why would I wanted to pursue PhD in law, specifically in law in Australia? As because Australia is a different legal system. Australia is a country that apply common law legal system. The common law tradition is a case law based system. It is developed from judge-made decisional law and the doctrine of judicial precedent. Unlike our country, that Indonesia, that following civil legal system, by studying a different legal in a different legal country, you will be studying the law from other legal perspective. So it will enrich your insights. You will be able to think outside your box, to think outside the box of civil law. This can be beneficial in a case that in the future you will have to handle an international client from common law countries, maybe yeah, that came to Indonesia, or you will have to make a comparative study between the existing legal system. Is it between the civil law and the common law? Also, you will get an international exposure by attending, because University of Australia will encourage you to attend international conference and publish in international journal. So you will be have your name will be known internationally. What you should prepare to do your PhD in law in Australia. First thing first, of course, you will need to have your English ready by the time you are applying for your PhD. Different university and different major or sometimes have different IELTS requirement. You need to check this with the uni. Generally, law degree sometimes require higher IELTS compared to the others. For law degree, sometimes they require IELTS of 7 with band no lower than 6 or 6.5, but you need to check this with the uni. While other degree like science, probably they just require a lower IELTS requirements. After you are confident with your English, after you are confident that you fulfill the English requirement, you can start to do your research. You can start to do research for finding potential supervisors. However, I suggest you by the time you're doing this, you need to have at least your research proposal ready, or at least just the outline of the issue you want to investigate. So your potential supervisor are attracted to your topic and willing to supervise you. After finding supervisors, you can start the process to enroll to university and getting letter of acceptance from the university. After receiving the letter of the acceptance, then you can start to apply for scholarship. There are many scholarships that provided by our government at this time. You can start, or maybe from the Australian government itself or from the university itself. There are plenty options for scholarship out there. There are a number of options of for scholarship. I will believe this will be explained further by the next speaker, Mr. Didin, about the option of the scholarship. That tens or probably there are tens of scholarship for your PhD. So there are many options. What are the challenges? I have told you before that the Australia different legal system can be an advantage. Well, to me, actually, it can be an advantage, and it can be. I don't say as a disadvantage, but it's a challenge. So it can be as an advantage, and it can be a challenge, and it depends on how you see it. Because the legal culture in common law is different with our law. It can take it can take some time for you to adjust and understand the concept. However, there is no legal system that applies 100% of their system. There are aspects of civil law in common law. For example, there are increasing reliance of two statutory norms in common law, and vice versa. Case law is also become significantly important to our civil law. And the climate, you need to check the climate of your where the city you want to study. Australia in the major city of Australia are four seasons. We has a four season climates. So for you to live in tropical season, maybe you need to to adapt and to adjust and check how you can adjust with climates. Uh, Personal life. You of course. If, I I just want to tell you about my experience of my personal and family life, like Professor so suggest me to say to you. And when I was doing my PhD, my wife also doing her PhD at the same time. I was doing my PhD in Curtin University, and my wife is doing her PhD at University of Western Australia, but in the same city. Those two universities are in the same city in Perth, WA. So you need to adjust the balance between doing your research and taking care of the family because we have a children. Uh, by the time we start PhD, we only have one children, and then at the mid of our PhD, we have our second child born in Western Australia. So we have a baby, and then we both are doing PhD. That's really struggle. So you need to discuss that with your partner. My our solution was that we split the time for doing research and family, like me doing research at and Kutin from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then after I got home, my wife going to her uni from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. While I'm taking care of the children, taking care of the baby, like that. And also I have some challenges like a family issue back home in Indonesia where my father got sick, and then we need to take care of take care of him. We need to arrange family who will take care of him, things like that. But yeah, there are all. It's not an easy path, but yeah, it's worth it for me. It's not easy path. It's worth it for me. I think that will be all, and I prefer so you asking me any question that you may have. So to end my presentation, I would like to give a question that I took from the internet. The future is uncertain, but this uncertainty is at the very heart of human creativity. Creativity. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Pungki, Pak Mas Pungki. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Very interesting and informative. But I think I hope we can discuss it further in Q&A session. But before that, uh, the next speaker will be Pak Didin Nur Hidayat. Please welcome. That will deliver about roadmap to get scholarship program for graduate students. Time is yours, Pak Didin. Please, Pak Didin.
Ya,
Silahkan, Pak.
ya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ya, kelihatan jelas nggak, Pak ya?
Jelas, Pak.
Jelas ya. Ya.
Jelas.
Yeah, first of all, I'm really sorry because I've got like internet connection problem at my home, so I have to move to my neighbor's house here. So hopefully the internet connection run really well. Yeah, luckily my neighbor is my sister, so it shouldn't be a problem for me to use her internet connection. Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Ibu Rektor, and then also the Dean of the Law Faculty, Dr. Abdul Halim, and then also the moderator, and then also all of you, the participants joining this international webinar on PhD study and then also curriculum of law in Australia. So it's been an honor for me to be here to share also some experiences and then also insights on how to prepare the PhD journey most likely in Australia. So shortly, I will share my PPT. Okay. Yeah, can you see it well?
Okay.
Okay, so you can see the screen, yeah?
Okay, clear.
Okay. There are so many things that we need to prepare to start our PhD journey. And sometimes it's going to be very difficult for us to define, yeah, where to start. Yeah, but first, let me introduce myself. My name is Didin Nuruddin Hidayat. I work as the head of the Department of English Education at UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta. In addition to that, I also manage the overseas scholarship, the 5,000 doctoral scholarship at the Ministry of Religious Affairs. So I have some experiences dealing with the preparation of the PhD study as well. And I also work as the executive director of Indonesia Scholarship Center. So that's an NGO based to support the young Indonesian generation to pursue their study overseas. And um, so there are so many things that I have mentioned earlier about our preparation for a PhD study. So I'm going to pick up one of them only. Yeah, as you can see, my focus of presentation is on how to communicate with the potential supervisor. This is one of the most important gateways, yeah, to start for our PhD. Now, this is just some kind of like a review on the most essential documents for a PhD. The first one is, of course, that you need to have your curriculum vitae, and then also sufficient language certificate, and then also the research proposal. Now, if you there are basically three ways for us to submit PhD application. The first one is through an educational agent. There are so many educational agents in Indonesia. Yeah, for example, we have the Sun Education, and then also we have the yeah, there are so many basically. And the second one is through the admission staff on campus or the graduate research office. And the third one is you can start directly looking for the PhD study from a potential supervisor. So basically, when you do the third way, you need to have these three essential documents. Yeah, the first one is the curriculum vitae, the one that I write in blue, and then also the language certificate, the sufficient one, and then also the third one is the research proposal. But on this occasion, because of the time constraint, I will not have a chance to explain all of them. But Prafula a little bit has demonstrated also to some extent about how the research proposal should be generated. So maybe on our subsequent webinars or maybe workshop, we can create some kind of like a focus group discussion or a workshop on how to develop the research proposal. Yeah, as Prabhula said nicely that when we write a research proposal, yeah, we are not just trying to get a what is it, the Nobel Prize. Yeah, that is something which is ambitious. Yeah, so our focus when we write the research proposal, as Prabhula said, is only on extending the body of knowledge. Yeah, so there should be a realistic goal when we write the research proposal. But next time we're going to discuss on how to develop this one. And then the next document will be the latest academic certificate and transcript, and then also letters of recommendation. Yeah, these are basically the essentials of PhD application. Of course, there are other documents as well, but these five are the most crucial ones. Now, I'm going to highlight one of the steps for us when we would like to start our PhD application is by looking at the potential supervisor. So all of us are quite lucky, yeah, because Prafula is present here. So she also could be one of your potential supervisors later on. So I'm going to give you some kind of like strategies on how to contact the potential supervisor. Prafula has been really great. We have heard how her experiences in managing and then also supervising some successful, yeah, PhD students, including Mas Bungki. Yeah. So I'm going to start first. These are the examples of, if I can say, an incorrect one when we send an email to our potential supervisor. Yeah, so this is not the sample of the correct one, but the incorrect ones. So as you can see on the top, dear Professor Kelsky, I'm a lecturer at XXX University, and I'm thinking about taking a PhD on YYY. I'm getting in touch to ask if you can give me any advice or direction about that. Yeah. So this is not something that we should do. Why? Because our potential supervisors needs to have a good research proposal prior to making a contact with them. So this is way too premature when we contact our potential supervisor, but we are still not sure on what to write. Yeah. And then the second one, it says that the complete the application deadline of the application is some weeks from now. Is it possible to get an LOA from you? Yeah, as a scholarship administrator, I often see this kind of sample requesting for an LOA, and then I need to ask to the potential supervisor. Yeah, as we all know, the supervisors are very busy, so it's going to be very difficult for them when they were meant to have some kind of like deadline. So these are the two samples that we should avoid when contacting the potential supervisors. Why is it important to study how to communicate with potential supervisor? Well, basically, supervisor is one of the most important factors contributing to the success of graduate studies because we only live with them. Yeah, we only live in let's say 2 multiply 1 square meters in our PhD office, and throughout our PhD life, we only work with two most important persons. Yeah, who are our supervisors. And communication presents our attitudes. 40% of candidates fail to start their doctoral study because of inappropriate communication with potential supervisor. Yeah, so even from the really beginning, we need to have some kind of like strategies on how to approach them. Yeah, we have to be able to avoid, yeah, similar emails that I have provided to you as the examples. Now, how can we contact a supervisor? Yeah, try to find out their expertise. Yeah, are they working on your area of research? Of course, that the area of expertise of the supervisors are listed on the university websites. Yeah, and then also, of course, that they will have some kind of like, let's say, LinkedIn or maybe the ORCID ID. Yeah, we can have seen all the expertise on their personal portfolio as well. And then also we need to have a look at the experience. Have they supervised many students before? Yeah. For example, as Pravula is a very good example. Sometimes there are numerous things that we cannot see from the website or the information from the internet. Yeah. To know how good a supervisor is, you can track from their previous students. Yeah. In this case, if you want to know more about Pravula, you can ask directly to Mas Pungki. Yeah, how she is good, how she was really good in supervising the students. Yeah, because it's not only in terms of the academic, but also in terms of how she could support us, how they could support us throughout um, our study. And then also the availability. They will have some, what is it, some limits, yeah, on supervising the PhD students. Yeah, if they are good, but they are not available at the moment, of course, that we won't get the chance to be supervised by them. And then also the research agenda, and then the publishing record of the potential supervisor is very important. Yeah, we can see also the alignment of our research proposal to their publishing records. Yeah, and then also collegiality and interpersonal relationship. This is what I meant before. We cannot read it on the internet. There will be no information regarding the collegiality and the interpersonal relationship. Yeah, the proof is on the previous PhD students. Yeah, you can ask them, yeah, directly on how they're really good at. Okay, so these are the most crucial things that we need to consider when looking for a potential supervisor. Okay, planning, yeah, to contact potential supervisor. Yeah, try to identify your own interests. Yeah, identify the academics within your institution, yeah, relevant to your chosen interests, and then draw a list of potential supervisors. Yeah, these are very important, as I mentioned before. If we aim to contact a supervisor, please do not aim only to contact one. Yeah, please try to have several, because we will never know how busy they are, or maybe they are not really interested on our research proposal, because the research proposal is not in line with their expertise. Yeah, and so on and so on. And then, is it okay to contact other potential supervisor? Yeah, the answer is yes, but we need to be careful. Yeah, do not give some kind of like impression that the other potential supervisors are secondary from the previous one. Yeah, maybe that they will feel a little bit upset, yeah, when being the secondary choices. So we need to be careful with this one. Of course that all of us also do not want to be in the secondary position. So we need to ensure that we have a very careful approach on this one. And then how to approach the first email. Yeah, this is also very important. Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah, try to send from formal email address. Yeah, in this case from your university email address as a staff. Yeah, avoid sending it from our personal email, or even worse, yeah, an email address that is very strange. Yeah, for example, coverboy at gmail.com, for example. That is some kind of like email address which is a little bit strange. Yeah, try to use your official email address, and then demonstrate who you are, and then demonstrate why you are suitable student for the chosen research, and also demonstrate why the supervisor should take you as a research student. This is very important, relating to our previous, the one that I have mentioned before, that we need to have a proper research on our potential supervisors. We need to know their background as well. Yeah, so these are the crucial thing. And then email etiquette, yeah, it's very imperative. Yeah, start with email with dear, and then ends with kind regards. Yeah, and then we cannot say start with bro or sis or whatever it is. Yeah, try to use the formal one. Good formatting, and then clear subject title. Yeah, for example, that's the example. Interest in PhD in law, for example. Yeah, try to make a good title on it. And then the email should be structured coherently. As an essay, yeah, it needs to have some kind of like introduction, it has the body, and then it has the conclusion as well. And introduction here, yeah, you can state who you are and what you do. Yeah, and then also it might be beneficial to state how you came to hear about the supervisor. Yeah, maybe you know her or him from the previous PhD students that he or she supervised, or maybe you have found him or her from the internet, from the university websites, or maybe you know him or her on, let's say, educational exhibition. Yeah, you can state them. And then also put forward an objective. On the body, yeah, this is the most important one. Yeah, try to promote yourself in a quote, yeah, as a potential candidate for research, for example, in the supervisor's lab. Yeah, and then also important to attach a curriculum vitae. Yeah, next time when I had a chance to speak again on another agenda, I can also talk about on how to develop a good curriculum vitae. Yeah, the most important thing is the curriculum vitae should be updated regularly and as soon as possible. For example, once we finish our webinar, we can start writing and include this on our CV. The reason is that so that we can understand and then we still remember vividly the experience on our latest academic agenda. Yeah, and on a curriculum CV, a supervisor, one of the things that they are looking for is the list of our publication. Yeah, So this is very important. So while preparing for our PhD study, yeah, we can also try to submit and then also publish in journals, more preferably the international journals, so that our potential supervisor can have a look at our research portfolio. Yeah, and then also the other body at the bottom. And then also the conclusion, yeah, should reinforce and summarize why you think you are a suitable candidate, and then also worth mentioning support you may have received, and then also the ideas and aspirations for the future. Yeah, and then worst case scenario, why haven't I got a reply? Yeah, do not think only on the negative sides. Yeah, try to see it from the positive sides. Yeah, perhaps maybe yeah, okay, why haven't I got a reply? Yeah, maybe they are busy. Yeah, or maybe we didn't send the email appropriately, or maybe we sent them the email on an inappropriate time. Yeah, for example, we sent them at the end of the year while they are already on a long holiday. Yeah, and then what we received was only the, what is it, the answering machine. If this is the case, yeah, if we haven't got a reply, try to remind them politely once again. Yeah, hopefully that we can get what is it, we can get a reply from them. Yeah, and this is a little bit about the curriculum vitae, yeah, and list the your educational background, and then also the research experience and commitment, previous presentations and publications, yeah, as I have mentioned before. Keep it short, yeah, prioritize, and then never, never, ever lie. Yeah, in this case, when we write curriculum vitae, yeah, it has to be honest, yeah, based on the records that we have demonstrated. Keep it relevant. It's all about experience. Keep it also professional. And this is our expectation on a supervisor. Yeah, we expect a supervisor can guide us in a tailored way. Yeah, they are available when needed. Yeah, be open, supportive, reliable, trustworthy, friendly. Yeah, and then also be constructively critical. Yeah, this is very important because they are the ones who will give feedback throughout our study. Yeah, structured tutorials, have sufficient interest in their research, and be sufficiently involved in their success to help them finish their study. But supervisors also have expectations on us. Yeah, we are required to be independent and interested in the research. Yeah, and then also to produce work that is more than just a draft. Yeah, and then also must report all relevant issues when discussing research with the supervisors, and follow the advice that has been agreed upon the meeting. Yeah, so whenever they have given feedback later on, so we have to work on that feedback. Yeah. I think that's all for my presentation at the moment. Yeah, I just would like to close my speech by saying that PhD study, yeah, has changed my life completely. Yeah, I'm on a scholarship for 2 times when I did my master degree, and then also when I did my PhD degree. Shortly, the life of my story has been documented at the Kick Andy when they invited me to talk on how scholarship can change someone's destiny. Yeah, shortly, I was a 5 foot street seller when I did my undergraduate degree, and then now I can earn a PhD study because of the scholarship. And then, so that's why since last month, so I have created a channel on name Motivator Beasiswa. This is to support and then to inform the young generations on their preparation for studying overseas until their PhD. So I'm open for any questions after this. So thank you so much once again, yeah, for the attention. excellent opportunity for me to share this experience. Thank you so much, Pak Hoirul.
Thank you very much, Pak Jidin Nuruddin Hidayat. Uh, thing that we have to know also is Pak Didin Nuruddin Hidayat is a coordinator of MORA. So there must be various information that we will have today. And of course, uh, yeah, for the next session is Q&A session. So I don't see it in chat list, but I will invite some questions. There will be two sessions for this Q&A session. Each session is for 3 questions. And please mention your name and state to which present you address your question. I will invite for the first 3 questions, please. Is there any question? Pak Imam, Pak Arafah Sinjar, and all students.
Yes.
Okay, please, Dr. Arafah Sinjar, for the first.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, especially our speakers from abroad or from Australia, and also speakers from in our states, negara kita, in our preparing PhD, and also talking about law curriculum in law faculty Australia. Yang terhormat Bu Rektor, Dean, Faculty, and also Mr. Rizal. We are very glad to meet you, even though if we are in our condition in Corona pandemic 19, but we have to say thanks very much because the human being get the modern technology that we say, for example, Google Meeting and Zoom to connect us to talk, even though our brother from Australia is very far from here, and I am in Salak Mountain or Gunung Sindur, but I can speak and talk with you. That's very, very glad, ladies and gentlemen. Especially for the first speaker just now, he talks about the what is the preparing PhD. I stress here, especially for PhD. If I don't know, if I'm not mistaken, that PhD means abbreviation from philosophy of doctor. Yes. So, Miss Prafula,
Yes.
philosophy, and also you mentioned just now about philosopher, because philosophy is very, very important for us. And this is, I think, because when they talk about philosophy means we have to have good thinking, yeah? A good thing we are, because we know that philosophy science, cogito ergo sum, yes? I am exist because I am thinking.
That's correct.
So,
Can you short?
because you mentioned just now, yes, and there's separation ontology law, epistemology, and axiology you mentioned just now.
Yes.
So I mean, because I am the philosophy, so philosophy subject here. I mean, do you have some curriculum must be master for students to support research, to support preparing PhD in Australia? I mean, how far the philosophy of law to support now for success process preparing PhD in faculty in your curriculum and also to support research. Thank you very much.
Okay. Um, if students have already done some research before, they would probably know that how to apply that philosophy to answer some research questions that they may have. But if students have got no research background, the university actually prepares them. Like Edith Cowan University, we have courses where we can actually prepare students to learn about the different philosophical views and how those philosophical views can be used for the research purpose. As I said, there can be extreme views, philosophical views students have. And some students might be the type of students who are ingrained in them that they like scientific certainty. Others might be such that they don't like scientific certainty. They might be willing to look at social side of research. And so when you are posing a research question in your thesis, when you're posing some research, what you want to solve, you need to be very clear from day one. You need to be very certain what is it that you are trying to resolve? What is it? And I find from my experience, when students come out to want to do a PhD for the first time, they have a broad idea of what they want to do, a broad subject idea, what they want to resolve, but they don't really know what little problem that they want to resolve. What is it that they're really trying to expand their philosophical knowledge on? And that thinking, exactly what you have said is correct. It's the thinking, it's the philosophical thinking, deep thinking. A lot of PhD is sold by deep thinking, but you have to build on the literature that is already there. To have your new thinking, philosophical thinking, you need to know what already has been thought through by others, what has already been written, what has already been experimented, what has already been published. Once you know all that, then you can say, right, based on, and this is where the candidacy becomes very useful document, because at the candidacy stage, the first year of the PhD study, you would have gone into the literature and you would have then discussed with your supervisor, who would read what more you have to say, and then develop questions, research objectives and research questions to answer your philosophical thinking, to progress your philosophical thinking further, and to design your research further from there. So that's where the philosophical, and the supervisors have to guide you in their philosophical thinking right throughout your PhD journey, because it's that philosophical study that shapes your whole PhD. Thank you. I hope that makes sense. But if you want to write further, I can give you a bit more detail into the philosophical side of, and especially for law students, I find that sometimes they're weak on this part of their research, the philosophical side of their research.
Okay, although the question is addressed for Pravula, but I think Pak Mas Pungke and Pak Didin Nuruddin can also give other perspective for this question. Please Pak Pungki, maybe, or Pak Didin.
Thank you, Pak Hoirur. Well, yes, of course, like Profula says before, when you are thinking of doing PhD is philosophy, Doctor of Philosophy research, and you need to think how to focus your study, how to focus your topic. I came to Profula. My topic was very, very broad when at first time I start my PhD, and then Profula was helping me to narrow my topic, my research, at first uh, I propose to examine the political and legal challenges of doing reorganization in our government. But Prafula says to me, legal challenges are very broad. You need to have one. You cannot solve every problem. Every problem, you need to solve just a little problem to make it more focused. So you need to have. So you will get the philosophical you need to have the philosophical aspect that you want to problem of that you want to solve. So then we changed the I changed my topic to the political and statutory challenges, because it is more focusing on the challenges that came from the law, from the statutes, and not from the other legal aspects. So you need to do your PhD. You need to have a you need to focus on what really one you want to do, what you really want to solve, what are the problems that you want to solve, what are the issue that you want to investigate. You cannot investigate everything, you cannot solve every problem, so you need to be more focused. That I think that's it, Pak. Thank you, Pak.
Pak Didin, please.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for the very good questions. Now, maybe I would like to add on how to get the ideas for our PhD research proposals. Yeah, sometimes we forgot things that are actually close to us. Ya, kadang-kadang kita lupa dengan hal yang sebenarnya dekat ada dari sekitar kita. Ya, as I mentioned earlier, so writing a PhD is not for changing the world. Yeah, and then also it's not to get a Nobel. Basically, it's basically to step ahead to support and extend the body of knowledge. Now, where we can get the idea from? First idea is from reading the latest international journals. Yeah, usually on the last section that there is a suggestions for future research. Yeah, but remember, read good journals. Now, this will be another session to discuss on how to find a good journals to read. Yeah, well, basically, you can read it from the latest section of the good journals, and then see the suggestion for future research. That's one way. And then the second one is by extending the work of ours. Yeah. So of course that we have a list of publications, and then have a look again on what we have written, and then see how we can develop them into a good PhD research proposal. And then the third one that I would like to suggest is from our previous phases. This is the one that I mentioned, is never forget the ones that is near from us. Yeah. So I would like to quote my friend's experience. On his master degree, he wrote responding to apology, yeah, in Indonesia. And then for his PhD study, he add one significant element, which is basically it's not that big enough. Yeah, he only adds responding to apology, Indonesian and Australian perspectives. So he adds one element which is but for his PhD, he adds a responding to apology, a comparison between Australia and Indonesia. Yeah, but of course the literature review was extended, the research methodology was extended. Yeah, that's one of the proof that there is no such thing which is too small to be written as a PhD still, ya, yang tidak bisa ditulis sebagai PhD study. Ya, what is required is the depth and the breadth of it. Nah, ini Pravula can talk a lot about the depth and the breadth of a PhD proposal. Yeah, so I just give you an example from my friend. Yeah, and he was really successful writing the PhD study with that topic. Yeah, only in 3.5 years. Why? Because he knew a lot about that research topic previously. Yeah, and a very simple idea on when to start a PhD is to act. Yeah, that is a very important thing. Yeah, write your first initial sentences on your research proposals, and it will grow accordingly. Yeah, do not think too much. Yeah, because when we think too much, usually that we don't do act. So my suggestion would be for you, for those who haven't started their PhD proposal, try to write your initial sentences today. And I believe through the small steps, you have highlighted the subsequent bigger steps. Yeah, that's just a suggestion. Thank you so much, Pak Hoirul Riza.
Thank you, Pak Didin. Thank you, Pak Khairul Rizal.
Okay,
So we have to struggle until the end of the blood.
Iya, Pak.
Thank you.
terima kasih. Thank you, Pak Didit. Okay, the next question will be Pak Imam. Please, time is yours, Pak Imam.
Thank you, Pak Rizal. My question is to Miss Professor, Associate Professor Prafula. Regarding to your explanations, I'm interested to make a questions regarding number one is mostly our student, probably Indonesian students study there is take tax law, right? Tax law. This is the prominent studies in your university. Besides that, is there any like another business law program more interesting for other sets like what we call it the business law is like infrastructure law or what we call it like technological law is something like that. This first question. The second one, you also offering for who can take a PhD can do also by online. So can you explain more detail about these matters? Is it possible we are not coming to Editcoan and then just stay in Jakarta? How can do everything like that? And this is very interesting one. Thank you very much. Terima kasih, Pak Rizal.
Okay. I can answer the questions.
Please.
Very good questions. So the first question on the different areas. Now, I was a lecturer at Curtin University, and I am a lawyer as well as a tax, specializing in tax. So that's why those students, some of my students did PhD in tax and I supervised them, but Mas Punki's PhD was not in tax, that was administrative law. So it's not necessarily that we have only expertise, but now I'm at Edith Cowan University, which is another university in Perth, and I'm joined here as associate professor. Here we have expertise in lots of areas, not necessarily tax. Tax is only one area. As I said, we have expertise in any sort of PhD, combining with business and law as well. So we can go into cybersecurity, we can go into artificial intelligence, you can go into criminal law if you have interest in criminal law, administrative law as well if you wanted, corporate governance, tax, just government policy. And then you can go into specific areas like transportation. If you have issues on transportation in Indonesia, you could think about what issues do you want to solve. If you have climate change issues you want to go into, then we can do a PhD on climate change, because any area, any problem area that you might be thinking of, Indonesia has, for example, that you want to solve a problem, that would involve some kind of a law and policy in any case. So we could find a supervisor here at Edith Cowan University jointly with law and another part with business or another part of the university, where we can find joint supervision, where you can look at 2 or 3 different areas together, not just law only, but law and policy, law and social, law and marketing, law and economics. So we can have a wide range there. So not restricted just to tax. The PhD students I supervised were tax-oriented, but not all of my students are tax. Some of the students are doing PhDs on shipbreaking, purely environmental and human rights type of PhD. So you could go into human rights, and there's so many issues in the world to solve on human rights. Modern slavery is one example. We've got lots of talks by our dean of our law school presented recently on modern slavery and his expertise on modern slavery. So he could supervise a PhD there. The next question was PhD online. Edith Cowan University has got a very good program, and it's not just started because of COVID-19. That program has been in place for some time now, where we have online PhDs. You don't actually have to come here to study then. You can study from Jakarta. We could have, between supervisors, students, and the other, you could have all the communication like what we're doing right now. You have access to the library, all the materials in the library. You have access to everything that's all the courses, our courses which PhD students attend. are also available online, which you can attend the online courses as well. So in fact, we also have a law degree, a normal law degree, bachelor's of law, as an online degree as well as on-campus degree. So somebody from Indonesia can even do a first degree in law at Edith Cowan University. And so we are very well established on online studies at Edith Cowan University. So to apply for online application, there's a process, there's forms available. You need to identify your area, what you want to do, supervisor, get your proposal together, and then register for the online PhD, and go from there. It's still a 4-year PhD. The most important thing is you have the minimum qualifications to register for the PhD. If you can't satisfy the minimum requirements, then there'll be a problem. But there are paths available. You could do your master's first, then come and do a PhD. So you can still do master's by research in law, and then from that develop to a PhD. So we are here to, in my final conclusion, I will show you some online PhD sites as well. But definitely online PhD is a good PhD, especially now with COVID-19. You can be there, you can still be working in your own university where you don't have to give up your job, and come and still do your PhD from there while you are undertaking your PhD. I hope that answers your question.
One more, Associate Professor Prafula.
Yes.
How about the tuition fee? Is it different between online and offline?
The only difference between online and offline is offline, on campus means you are here studying at campus. The online is studying from overseas. There's absolutely no difference at all. In terms of your thesis, you have to still produce, you still have to follow the same path. You still have the candidacy, undertake the candidacy within 12 months. You still have to do your thesis, exactly the same thesis. Your final degree that you get, the certificate, will not say this is an online PhD. It will just say what PhD, that you got a PhD from Edith Cowan University.
Yes.
No difference at all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rizal. Thank you, Professor Arapa Sinjar. Thank you, Professor Arapa Sinjar. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Imam.
Thank you very much, Pak Imam.
Maybe Pak Didin, can you give, because it is something new for us, if we talk about scholarship, can our scholarship cover it with this way? Oh.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. How can I put this? Yeah, answering this one. Just give you a little bit of, well, basically the private or maybe from the overseas can adapt to the changes quickly and easily because they have simpler bureaucracy. Oh, sorry, I wasn't aware that it was still muted. The answer would be yes or no. Yeah, so it depends on which scholarship that we are applying. Some institutions can easily adapt to the new changes. Yeah, as I believe with the Edith Cowan University, yeah, they have adapted very quickly according to the changes, and that's really good because the institution or a person who will survive is not the strongest, yeah, nor the intelligence, but the one who can be more adaptive to changes. Yeah, that's it's not myself saying that, but it's Charles Darwin saying that. Yeah, but some scholarships provider are very difficult to change this nature due to the bureaucracy. Yeah, for a scholarship coming from the government of Indonesia, until now it is quite difficult to start a PhD study overseas, but doing it online or offshore. Yeah, that's what I can tell you. Yeah, for example, like the LPDP scholarship for their overseas students, that they have to delay the departure until next year, until this time. But the good thing from them is they are quite flexible because as far as I know that they allow the students to start their study if the university not all scholarships can do that way because of the bureaucracy. Yeah, that's at the moment that I can share about that information. Basically, it is possible if we get a scholarship from the university or if we get a scholarship from the overseas donors, for example, from the Australian awards, yeah, or also from the LPDP. Yeah, it is possible, but not all. It's possible at the moment. Yeah, we still need to see the changes.
Can
Thank
I
you,
also
Pak.
answer the questions?
Okay, please,
Uh,
Pak Pungki.
yes, regarding of your question, probably it is better to check with the scholarship provider. Every scholarship, like Didin said, the requirement are different. I have a college, my college that working at the same office with me at the Kemenpan RP. She is currently the awardee of the LPDP scholarship, and she was due to depart to UK actually this semester, but because of the COVID, there's still some restriction. And but the so her course was started online, and the LPDP are still allow her to do it online in the meantime while waiting the border are open for her. And if the border are open, and then she can depart and then doing it in on the in the UK, in the country, then I think it's better now to check with the scholarship provider. So that might be different. Some of them are flexible. Thank you.
Sorry, can I
Thank
just
you.
put a
Okay,
word in?
please.
Just a very short comment on COVID-19 and Edith Cowan University. We obviously, if students want to do it on campus and they register on campus, but because they can't come here and they can't get the visas to come here or the borders are closed, they can start online and then come here and continue as an on-campus student. That's a path. They register as a campus student and come out, do online there until they can come out here. Or they can register fully online and do online right throughout. So depending on what the scholarship accepts, this is where the flexibility of Edith Cowan University comes in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. I still invite other question if there's any other question. Please.
Okay, I have a question, Mr. Rizal.
Okay, please, Pak Suherman.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, moderator, for this time. Firstly, I would like to introduce my name is Suherman. I'm a lecturer at Law Faculty of Veteran Jakarta. My question is addressed to Associate Professor Pratfula or other speaker. As your presentation before that in conducting research methodology, law student can use qualitative and legal research. Can you explain the difference between the two methods? Because as far as I know, the two methods are the same method. The second question, can you explain the steps for completing for a Ph.D. in your university? Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm not. Sorry.
Research methodology.
The question was between qualitative and quantitative. What was the difference?
Yes, different between method for the qualitative and legal research.
Legal research. Okay.
Yeah.
Legal research can be quite unique in a way, because legal research sometimes doesn't specify exactly qualitative or illegal research, and you have to look at legal reasonings. And so legal research sometimes falls into its own, and we call it separate actually. In Australia, we call legal research sometimes separate from qualitative and quantitative, although it is both of all of it included, but it can be unique on its own because legal reasonings are sometimes very different and unique from the traditional qualitative and quantitative. And so when we say we're using legal research methodology with a type of qualitative, like interpretive description or case studies, or you can do a case study methodology together with legal reasonings. So then you would say you're doing case studies as your method, case study method, together with your legal research. So in Australia, legal research is considered quite separate and unique, although it does encompass all the others as well. So you're quite right there. And your second question, I'm trying to recollect. What was the second question you wanted to know? Was about can you recollect the second question to me again?
Okay, the second question can you explain for us about the stage for completing Ph.D. in your university or finish?
Yes.
Step, the step.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So we have an additional step which at Curtin University we didn't have, which is an oral examination as well. So you prepare your thesis, you submit the thesis for examination. But before you submit your thesis for examination, you have an oral examination within the university just to make sure that you have reached the status that you will be able to submit it to an external examiner and you'll be fine. So we really kind of, as a precautionary thing, to make sure that you are unbiasedly prepared and ready for your thesis now to go for examination. And you know what you've done. It is new knowledge that you've increased in some area, whatever area it is, and you've answered your research questions, and it is your work, and you're able to defend that work as your work. So it's just that extra step for examination. So once the thesis is ready after the 4 years of studies or 4 years of writing your thesis is ready, there's a panel, you go and they ask you some questions and you would have an oral discussion and then go from there. Then it goes for examination. And then it's just a normal, like any other university, the examination, you get the results, you might get amendments to do a little bit of rewriting, and then you get a thesis award and you get a degree, your doctoral degree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe Pak Pungki, can you share your experience about research methodology? Because you are this.
My research was a qualitative study, so it is, well, I research, it's a qualitative study, but I can say that it is a legal research that is part of qualitative study. So it is legal research that combines a qualitative study that combine not only legal research but also combine area of administrative law and public policy and also the political science. So I think when you doing your research in legal research, and with my experience, I'm doing qualitative, so I don't know about quantitative. So I must say, what is it? I don't see any difference of the two methods, because actually yeah, most of the study in legal area are qualitative qualitative based study. But it just has a more focus on the legal or legal issue or legal area. That's it. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak. Okay, maybe there's any other question, or maybe Pak Didin will give the perspective.
Okay, I will add some additional information, but I just to let you know, I don't come from a law background, so I have no idea about the legal research. But I would like to add some kind of like information about the stages in completing the PhD. So this is roughly, perhaps it's different and varies among Australian universities. But to start with, that the students at the 6 months should attend the introductory seminar, yeah, during their 6 months of period. And this is the first step in the seminar usually held on the first year of the candidature. So this is the most crucial one because it can fail the students as well because this is assessed. And then after the students complete the data collection and then write the final results, they are required to do the work in progress seminar. Again, as in the introductory seminar, this is not assessed. Yeah, so only by giving the feedback for the future writing. And the last one is the final seminar. So this one might be different. When I did my PhD, the final seminar was not assessed. Yeah, but this one is required and obligatory to be done prior to thesis submission. Yeah, so when we present at the final seminar, basically we have finished the thesis draft, and then we present it on the seminar, but this one is not assessed. So the panels only give us the feedback to complete and to make our thesis perfect prior to submission. And then this is the most crucial part. So our thesis will be sent to three external reviewers. When I did my PhD, the first reviewer came from United States, and then the other one is from Australia, and then the other one is from Indonesia. But we only know who our assessors once we complete our thesis, but not before. Yeah, so that is top secret. We will never know who our assessors are. Yeah, so this is the most deciding factor. Why? Because our thesis will be read within 3 until 6 months. Yeah, so that's what makes it different in Indonesia. Usually in Indonesia is very quick. Yeah, so the examiner only have a chance to be sent the thesis within weeks perhaps. But in Australia, it will take 3 months up to 6 months. So the commas and the periods, yeah, will never be forgotten as well. That's just to show you how what is it? How detailed their feedbacks are. Yeah, comma and full stop will never be forgotten. Yeah, and then after that, that's our faith, whether we are straight to be confirmed as a PhD or we need to have some kind of like revision. For me, I was really lucky because I only got some kind of like minor revision. So I only need to do some kind of like editorial revision, and they gave me only 3 weeks to complete that one. Well, I only finished it within 1 week because anyway, it's just some kind of like mostly the editorial. Some of them really tough. Yeah, some of them requires a major revision, but the most major one will be a resubmission. Yeah, meaning that we have to resubmit our thesis. So when we submit our thesis for the first time, that is not a guarantee that we are a successful PhD study. Yeah, not until the three assessors, yeah, gave the final recommendations. I have some friends who fail on the final seminar and then they have to resubmit the thesis. Resubmit is not only a resubmission because it will take up to 1 year to do the revision because the revision is truly a major one. But that will be better instead of the worst one, which is a failure. Yeah. So it will be very different. Yeah, different results. Maybe Pak Pungki maybe only revise for a few weeks, same as what I did. But some others can take up months or even a year, or even resubmit, or even fail. Okay, that's basically how it works in Australia, roughly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Didit.
Can I add
Pravula,
something?
is there? Okay.
I just wanted to add something to this dialogue, which was that in Australia, not only the student has to do their candidacy, which is the first 12 months that they pass the candidacy, but every year the supervisors have to give a report to the graduate research school of how the student is progressing. And if the student is not progressing, so after the second year, the student is not progressing, the student could be put on conditional status and told and given a program how to improve, because we don't want the student to kind of do the first year candidacy and then go right to the fourth year and then realize that the student hasn't progressed at all and might not get through. So you don't waste students' time, don't waste the university time, the supervisor's time. So every year, the supervisors keep a track on whether the students are progressing so that they will complete when the 4 year is finished, that they will have written their thesis and they'll complete their thesis.
Okay, thank you very much. I think what we are talking today will be beneficial for us. And next session will be closing statement. I will give the first chance for maybe Pak Pungki.
Yes, Pak.
Okay, please Pak Pungki.
Sorry, what is it? Closing statement?
Closing statement, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Pak Khoirul, for the closing statement. I thank you so much for all the organizers to organize this our discussion today, and I believe that hopefully this discussion will be fruitful and give you some insights, enrich your insights, and will enrich your insight on how to prepare your PhD study. And I do hope that you are attracted to continue to start your PhD journey in Australia. And I believe that there will be this is just the beginning. There will be another that we can do to prepare your study in Australia. And if you have anything that you question that you may have, or just you want to consult anything that regarding to your preparation to your study, please do not hesitate to contact me or contact Prafula or contact Padudin. So we will do everything. And all the best that we can do to help you. Thank you so much, Pak.
Thank you so much, Pak Pungki, and thank you for the offer. Uh, Next gen will be Pak Didin, please. Pak Didin.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me a chance to give some kind of like closing statement. Well, I just would like to reiterate that to ensure you that the best investment is in education. Yeah, even though that it will be difficult for us to reach the higher steps, but if we are successful, it can change someone's life in many ways. Yeah, so in order to be successful, one thing that I would like to quote from Carol Dweck, Professor Carol Dweck from Stanford University, is that for us to be someone who has a growth mindset. Yeah, a growth mindset means someone who always believes that he or she can unleashes their potential no matter what. For example, if at this stage our English proficiency is not enough to apply for a PhD, someone with a growth mindset will believe that he or she can struggle and do his or her best so that he can achieve the intended score. Someone who is at the moment not yet writing the research proposal, someone with a growth mindset will believe that he or she can can start writing and then can realize the research proposal. So I would like to suggest us all of us to be someone who has a very growth mindset. So always being able to remove all the obstacles which are mostly come from inside ourselves. Yeah, so I wish you all, it's not only you, but also me, to be successful in all of our future endeavors, and then also the future collaboration between Edith Cowan University and then also with Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran can run very well. So I'm looking forward to having some kind of like further information that in the near future, both institutions have started their joint research collaboration, have started their PhD collaboration, have started the student exchange program, have started all the necessary educational collaboration between the two institutions. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. And the last, Prabhula, please.
Thank you. I must really thank all of you for organizing this very, very useful event. And what I want to say first, I agree that PhD changes your thinking.
I see.
it changes you because you handling this one piece of information document research, which is such a large document. It just changes the way you approach life after your PhD. And I think Mas Punki should probably confirm that. He didn't confirm it just now as well. And it's an amazing journey. And people might say, oh, it's just a writing, but it actually changes the way you think and the way you solve problems and the way you handle new material. So it does change you. As regards from a supervisor who receives applications, I just wanted to kind of touch base on that. When you're writing to a supervisor and say you want to do research in a particular area, make sure you have done some research yourself in that area, know what the admission requirements are for that university. So you kind of search the university website to find out that you do satisfy the admission requirement. Because the supervisor will read your research proposal and it might be really very good. But if you didn't satisfy the research admission requirements, the supervisor can't help you to enroll in a PhD when you haven't satisfied the admission requirements. So go through the admission requirements to make sure you satisfy the admission requirements. The second problem I found was I received good proposals, and then I asked myself, is this student funded or are they self-funding students? So we might say, yes, I'm very interested in supervising your thesis, but I'm not sure whether you can afford to come to Australia or how you're going to fund your studies. So go through that process before you write to the supervisor to know that how you're going to fund your PhD. If you're relying on a scholarship, make sure you've inquired about the scholarship and that you kind of know what your hurdles are and tell the supervisor, this is my hurdle. I may get a scholarship, I may not get a scholarship. Check the university procedures for enrollment. And then if you do come and do your PhD, get involved with the university activities on the research. We have a lot of activities like 3-minute competitions, like poster competitions and school research days. Really get involved with the research arena at the university itself. And that really gets you from then to pass your PhD. I really hope I can see some of you at Edith Cowan University on campus in the future or off campus. It will be just like this. If it's off campus, it'll be just like this. We could, have PhD students doing all the work and have all the facilities there. But if you're on campus, it's even nicer sometimes because you get involved with the culture. But at the moment with COVID-19, I think it's a little bit difficult to have too much of on-campus activities. But it's been a pleasure to share some of my insight into PhD supervision and some insight into what you can achieve, what is achievable. Don't underestimate yourself. Start the journey with the focus and you will finish a PhD journey before 4 years is not that long. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mas Buki. Thank you, Didin. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rabula. Okay, I think finally we came to the end of the presentation, and we would like to say thank you very much again for all the presenters for the informative and interesting talk, and of course to the audience for your active participation. But before the end of this webinar, we will take the photo session. So could you please to take this position? Okay.
Or maybe
there will be
maybe
information from Dean of.
Or maybe I read first pantun.
Pak Ikan, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Prafula, Pak Funki, and Pak Didin. Our program today is very productive and enlightening and useful even. Let me say that Faculty of Law is currently building a curriculum that will soon implement it. So we hope Madam Pravula and the School of Business can help us to build an enlightening curriculum because it's the new curriculum after Minister of Education give the policy. So the Faculty of Law is looking for a partner to carry out activities. So like curriculum development, visiting professor, research collaboration, publishing, and joint international conference, student action, and so many activities. We hope Madam Pravula and Edith Cohen University will join with us to build to strengthen our curriculum in Faculty of Law. Finally, on behalf of the University Pembangunan Nasional, let me say you all, Ibu Pravula, Pak Didin, and Pak Pungki, we hope we can see you the next event, and we can also discuss in many areas like academic, research, and publication. So thank you. We hope we will meet again in other forum. Thank you and see you next. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much, Pak Dekan. As I say, the last session is photo session. Could you please to take this position because this is our symbol bela negara.
Begini.
Like this.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Your head.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, like yeah. The right one. Yeah. Good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Prapula, we call this salam bela negara.
Thank you.
Salam. Yeah.
Salam. That's wonderful.
Salam.
At the right way. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I definitely look forward to communicating further on further development, further cooperation between the universities.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, as I said, hopefully the presentation will be beneficial for everybody and for me. Thank you for your attention and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pak Pungki, mohon dibantu nanti ya. Pak Pungki, maybe you can help us to implement our plans ya. With Bu Prapula. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Kita kontak lagi Pak Dekan ya.
Ya, oke, siap. Makasih.
Terima kasih Pak Didi. Thank you, Pravula.
Pak Didin, terima kasih Pak Didin.
Ya, sama-sama Pak Dekan.
Ya, ini harus belajar bahasa ini.
Udah keren lah Pak Dekan lah.
Ya.
Terima kasih Bapak Ibu dosen, mahasiswa.
Terima kasih Pak